right, welcome back to another episode of the Kickback Corner with JayBee and Will. We got a nice little episode today during this quarantine life we're living right now. But we were talking about it the other day. We were on the phone and we were discussing like topics, and uh, I thought a good one right now, especially since everybody is, there's a lot of people at home watching TV and binge watching shows. Uh, we were just going to make a little list of our top 5 shows, and we'll talk about them a little bit. And if you had anything to offer into that conversation, just go ahead and leave a comment, and then we'll come back to it at a later date. But welcome, Will. How's life?
It's kind of boring, but I'm getting used to it right now. How about you? How's everything over there?
It's all right.
Yeah,
Kind of getting used to being at home,
yeah,
but it's a little bit of a kind of like a shock to the system because every day for God knows how long I've been going to work at like 6 a.m. and now it's like I end up waking up around 9 because I'm sleeping so late the night before.
yeah, man.
And
I mean, that's my yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, and trying to find something to watch on TV or do something in the meantime to kind of fill that void is it's tough. I don't know what to prioritize, so I get
Yeah,
into something certain like I found a charger for my laptop earlier today. I ordered it and it came in and I plugged it in and I had to do like a bunch of I've been doing updates since like noon and it just
yeah,
barely got done. So
yeah,
it's like every day is something new. Yesterday was something else. Tomorrow I'll probably mess with my guitar and clean it and fix it and all that.
yeah.
And you know how it goes.
Did you see my tutorial video
I
on
did. I
guitar? You
did.
saw it?
Well, I was gonna leave like a kind of a snide comment, but at the
Uh,
same time, it's not. I know what your answer would be, but I was gonna say it would have been way easier if you would just replace the strings.
I
But
know,
where are you gonna get strings right now,
I
dude?
know, I know. That
Yeah,
was the thing. Yeah, I mentioned that. Like, it's just I don't. I'm pretty much just gonna ride these strings until the day I could walk back into the guitar center.
yeah.
But also I got my special guests. I don't know if you've seen these yet. So our first special guest is Tom Landry of the Dallas
Oh, I
Cowboys.
like that.
Look at his little Super Bowl ring.
That's funny.
And then I got did you see these yet or no?
Uh-uh.
And then I got
Oh, Staubach. That's cool,
yeah,
man.
pretty cool, man.
That's awesome.
They had a Troy Aikman out there. It pretty much looks exactly like Staubach but blonde hair.
That's funny.
Yeah, anyway, yeah, I think the thing is too is right now it's funny when you're stuck at home how many things you kind of like look at. Like it's gonna because you're just now getting stuck at home. Like this is kind
Yeah,
of new for
yeah.
you. Like I've been at home for like since March 16th.
Oof.
So now it's like I'm starting to go, just be like, you know what, man? I told myself I was gonna learn how to do this. I told myself I was gonna do this. So every day I'm doing something, trying to do something new.
I hear
That I kept. So it is good. In some senses, it's good to kind of like recharge and reset.
you. Yeah,
But my hopes is by the time things get back to normal, I just don't go back into my old ways of being like, oh, I don't have time. Reality, we have time. It's just do we make the time?
gotcha.
So anyway, yeah, let's get into it. So I do want to talk about a recent TV show that I've gone into.
Okay.
Have you started watching? Well, I'll start with this. This show actually came out started 3 years ago. It's a Netflix original, and at that time I watched the first episode, kind of started falling asleep at the end, and then never went back to it.
Okay.
And then I got a notification that the third season just came out. I was like, you know what? I need to go back and watch that show. I'm already halfway through the third season.
Ah,
Um, Ozark.
I've heard of it.
Yeah,
I've heard of
it's
it, and I heard it's really good.
it's pretty damn good, dude.
If you were to give like a paragraph synopsis of what the story's about, what would you say about it?
It's
What's the
about
goal and what's the? I'm sure there's some kind of goal in the show.
it's about a financial like numbers cruncher,
Okay.
advisor, I
Okay.
guess you could say. Um, has very little knowledge about his partner. I guess later in the season it kind of shows more he did have knowledge, but in the beginning you kind of get this idea that he had very little knowledge about his partner laundering the Mexican drug cartel's money through their
Oh.
business.
Okay.
And long story short, gets himself in a predicament where he has to move to from Chicago to Missouri with his family, and he has to launder millions of dollars of the cartel, or else they're gonna kill him.
Wow.
One one thing leads to another. You know how Breaking Bad was. You kind of see this shift in a person kind of taking on this like criminal lifestyle of like being used to it and figuring out how to get through it.
Okay.
Same kind of
Okay.
vibe.
All right.
But his family knows about it. His kids know about it. His wife
Oh,
knows
okay.
about it. Wife ends up being kind of a little bit more cutthroat than he is.
Oh.
Um, it's a pretty good show. So right now I'm in middle of the third season. I don't know where it's going. I don't know if this being halfway through the third season, I don't know if this is a show that's going to continue after the third season yet.
Okay.
Um, but it's cool. There's some characters in there, man, that you see some scenes where you're like, shit, like, people die, and it's not always by the same person's hand that
Yeah.
people die. Yeah, so it's a
Yeah.
good show. It's a good
Yeah.
show. Um,
I recently, I'm a fan of The Big Bang Theory.
mm,
Uh, you know, it's one of those shows that kind of it tickles the other side of the brain a little bit. It makes you. These guys are nerds, but it's kind of quirky and kind of funny at the same time.
mm,
How they interact with. There's one guy in the group that's really uptight and has his ways, is very robotic, and everybody else, how they mesh with that and the stories that go along. Each episode has its own little struggle, and they all get out of it and all that. But I've seen about every episode, and the show just ended this past year. And there's a show, they had a spin-off where the main character, Sheldon, they have a show called Young Sheldon. So it's him when he was a kid. Because in the TV show
oh,
Big
is
Bang
that
Theory,
him?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
in the show The Big Bang Theory, he has a lot of stories. When I was a kid, I was 10 years old, I went to college. 11 years old, I did this, and when they that show has 3 seasons, I binge watched it in about it was like 2.5 days. I'm telling you, man, it was actually pretty good. I enjoyed it. They're really quick episodes, 30 minutes with the commercials taken out. It's like 20,
Yeah.
and just one after other, and it's actually pretty funny. Like it goes along, kind of with the story of the Big Bang Theory, but
So
pretty good.
they take the actual stories he said in Big Bang Theory and they apply it to. Do you
Yeah,
think they were setting it up for a spin-off?
no,
No,
it's
they
not.
just took
They're
it.
not really like. Do you remember that time? It's just those little quirky things that he
That
was.
happened. Yeah.
You see it when he's a kid, and he
Yeah.
always talks about his Meemaw, his grandma. Meemaw's in the show. His mom is very religious and Bible thumper from Texas and all that. The mom that they picked, perfect accent, Bible thumper, really eccentric, like
Mm.
focused on the kid at all times. And in the TV show Big Bang Theory, they always make fun of the dad, like he just drank and doesn't care. In this show, they make him an integral part of the story, but again, in the side of it, he drinks a lot and he doesn't care. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
it kind of it's a good mix, and I thought the show was really good. And if you have time on your hands and you enjoy Big Bang Theory, believe me, you'll like it a lot because they're just so quick in the the little things that they have to do per show as far as like the storylines and stuff is just so quick, and by the time the episode's done you're like, wow, that was actually pretty good. Let me see the next one. Click.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah. Um, so I mean, other than I'm trying to think of something a show that I've recently watched, but I can't off the top of my head I can't think of anything recent other than Ozark. But
mm.
oh, have you seen that first The first, I don't know. Actually, is there a second season? No, I think it's just one season right now. That new show, The Witcher, that
I
came
think
out.
I think there was only one season, right?
Yeah,
Because
it's one
it's
season
fairly
so
new.
far.
Yeah.
Yeah, it almost felt like it ended.
Is
Like,
it gonna make it? I didn't honestly when you told me about it and I kind of looked it up. I'm like, I don't think the show's gonna
I
make it.
don't think it's gonna make it. But what I was upset about is now that you bring it up, making it is a show that came out. I think it was like a year or two ago. That didn't make it, which was The Punisher, and
Oh
I thought it
yes,
was freaking amazing,
it
man.
was very good. And the guy that they picked for the Punisher,
Yeah,
he was pretty good, man. I
yeah,
got on his side. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like it made
yeah,
you root for him.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so that guy,
yeah.
speaking, okay, let's finish off with that show. That show should have won another season at least. I don't know
I think
why it
so.
didn't.
I,
I thought it was really well written, but I think maybe they put too much information in the first season and it just
yes,
burned it out.
truthfully, I remember
Oh,
watching like a good amount of that first season. I didn't watch the end of the first season, but a good amount of it. And then I went into something into the second season. I'm like, oh, it lost a little something there, you know.
yeah. Now, oh yeah, that's right. It did have two seasons. You're right.
I
It
believe
had two
so. Yes.
seasons. Yeah. Um, that guy was a main character in The Walking Dead.
Okay. I don't
Um,
remember him in that show, but yeah.
he was only in the first two or three seasons, I think.
Okay, and that's probably
Yeah.
why.
He was the main character's like the main character was a cop.
Yeah.
He was his partner.
Oh, okay.
They went to high school together, all that stuff.
Gotcha.
That guy, um, I thought when they killed him off in The Walking Dead, I was pissed off.
Okay.
As an actor, he's like an original type of, I forget his name, can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he has that attitude in The Walking Dead too, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But
Like chip on his shoulder
he's a
kind of
dick.
thing.
Like
Yeah.
he's like fuck that my way, this, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That show, okay, so there's a correlation between that show and another show I'm going to get into based on the network they played it on, which is AMC. Okay.
Yeah.
So back in the day when The Walking Dead first started, I was watching that show from the first episode, first season, really good first season. And as I think it was like year two, season two, AMC had a dispute with Dish Network and said, we're gonna cut AMC.
Okay.
Okay. And I said, oh my God, I can't believe I'm not gonna be able to watch Walking Dead and this and that. And on Facebook, one of my Facebook friends posted, oh hell no, they're taking off Breaking Bad, and I'm all Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
What the hell is Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
So I looked up Breaking Bad, and I just kind of Googled it. Now I'm gonna say right now, Walking Dead's on like season 10 or 9 or some shit right now.
Yeah.
I stopped watching it. I stopped watching it a month ago. Said I can't
Okay.
take it anymore.
Yeah.
They're just kind of dragging it along,
Yeah. Yeah. Milking it. They're milking it.
They're milking the shit out of it, dude.
Yeah.
So Breaking Bad. To me, it's tied with another show as my all-time favorite,
Okay.
but might take the cake based on the fact that I feel like Breaking Bad is the only show I've ever seen where you could watch every single episode and not feel like it's a filler anywhere.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I get you.
And the season finale was probably the best, or the series finale was the best series finale I've ever seen.
It gave
Answered
you a
all
good
your
ending.
questions. Yeah.
It gave you a good
Yeah.
ending. Most of these really, really good shows that we've ever seen have like horrible endings, and you're just like, why? Like you took the time to make such a good show. Why not do it like Breaking Bad, where you kind of like justice
Yeah.
and somewhat like the hero prevails, kind of
Yeah.
thing. You know,
No unanswered questions.
that's true. Yeah.
Nothing.
Whoever
Every
died, whoever that needed to die, died.
died.
you know.
Whatever
That's
loose ends needed to be tied got tied, and it ended perfect. I thought it was
Yeah.
a great, and I think it ended at the perfect. They didn't drag the show any more seasons that they needed
No.
to.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, thought it was great.
My only gripe with Breaking Bad, and it's the only reason why I can't rewatch it all over again, is because he finally after he the lead up to him becoming that drug lord, you could say, that guy that made so much product, and then when he starts working for, what's that guy's name, the evil character, um,
Um, Gustavo Fring.
Gustavo Fring. He starts working for him. I remember as soon as Fring died, after that, I started, like, maybe that was too much of a cliff, like to fall off of, kind of
Mm,
thing. Like, the it's like all this heat, all this tension, all these things building up, building up, building up. Finally, and then this guy, remember the thing blows up and he's still there. And
yeah.
he's fixing, and the whole half of him is like gone. I remember once that episode was done, and then they went into the next season. Like it took about 2 episodes into the next season, and I was just like, I don't think they're gonna get up that high again. It's just gonna be skating on that level
Yeah.
until the finale, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that's just me. Maybe that was it for me. Like, man, that was a lot.
I think I see where you're going because it's kind of like, okay, you got rid of Fring and then you bring in these like white supremacists. Like why are
Yeah,
they? But I think for me it's just kind of like he achieved what at that point he just needed to kind of he knew he was dead after that. After
yeah,
it was like he was on the run. Because remember, after Fring, he killed his brother-in-law. He got his brother-in-law killed.
yeah,
That to me was even a higher, like what the fuck, you know what
yeah.
I
But
mean?
it took a really long time to get to that point, though.
Yeah, it did.
It
It
took a
did.
whole like other season,
Yeah,
almost.
there was that little dragging period, but
Yes,
I didn't feel like it
it,
was too much. Like it was.
it's it's just to me like, just remember this, like he started, and then in season 2 you got Tuco, and all that kind of up and down in every episode, and then there's the grandfather, and then you
Yeah,
had um what was it, the kid something got shot, and then the
yeah,
tweakers, and then the thing falls up, like all those. It was like so much, and then you got the bad guy, and he would never talk. He would always just come and just be like, what's the problem?
yeah,
Okay. And he would walk away. You're like, what's going to happen when this guy gets mad or something, or
yeah.
all that? And then they go to the drug lord and they tell his story, Gus Fring's story, and all
Yeah.
this, and it's building. And, for me, just afterwards, like I could watch it up to that point. I can't watch the rest unless we go to like the end, like the last three
Yeah.
episodes or something. That's
For
just
me,
me. I'm
yeah,
impatient like that. Like I have that. Once it's gone for me.
yeah. But I think the thing is when you go back and think about how you were watching it when this episodes first came out, did you feel that way at that
Well,
time?
I did binge watch it because when I got into it, I was already. It
Oh,
was already a
that's
bunch of shows.
right. I forgot you caught up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I was waiting on the weekly for those episodes. But
Can't imagine.
the
Yeah, that would have
the
been
oh,
harsh.
we imagined it with another show that we'll
Well, the
get
thing.
into,
Hold
but
on though. Like the last couple. Like I think it was the last 2 seasons or the last season, because I think they did it in two
you
parts.
did catch up. You caught
I
up by
was
that
caught
last
up.
season. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You're
Yeah.
right. But that's when things got interesting, the second half of that last season.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I'll tell you this though. Um, I could point out every other show I've seen and see like a dragging period or like something that just screwed up the show for me. But moving on,
I
I
I
want
made
to
it.
I want to I want to save a particular show for last. I think you know what I'm leaning toward.
Well,
But go ahead.
I made a list of my top five. Okay,
Let's hear it.
my fifth, the fifth one
Mhm.
on my list right now and it's only number 5. It should have been number 2, but only because of the last season, Game of Thrones.
Okay.
I have that number 5 on my list. As far as what it gave me, the
As a
suspense,
whole.
as a whole, as a show, acting, special effects, and how it all wrapped up. Now, I mean, if you've never watched Game of Thrones and you're gonna try to get into it, just make sure you have your your thinking cap on, because you're gonna have to start. You have to remember a lot of names, who's from who, what are they doing, and why don't they like each other, and all this stuff, and all the backstabbings and all that. But that first season, I remember that just got me, man.
That's an awesome
That
season.
that got me, dude.
That's
Maybe
an awesome
because
season.
I rooted for Ned Stark. Yeah, and it just
Quick one.
Yeah.
All right. What's your number 4?
Number 4, I don't know if a lot of people have actually seen it, but it was actually a great show, and I watched it per week. I didn't do the thing where I caught up to it in the middle of it, but Boardwalk Empire.
Ah, okay. I
I
never really got into it, but
Yeah.
go ahead.
Well, the thing is, I I remember it was right after Sopranos. It was about a year after they were advertising the show, and the main character is, uh, actually the show is all around the Atlantic City boardwalk days,
Okay.
the early 1900s, and the years of Prohibition, and the main character in it is a good actor. He was on The Sopranos as well, and along with many other shows. But if I'm saying it, Steve Buscemi,
Yeah, big
and
movie actor.
yeah, and
Yeah.
the show was pretty good. It had a lot to do with bootlegging and the mob in Atlantic City, and then there's they had infamous characters like Al Capone,
Mm.
and they had Arnold Rothstein, um, Maranzana, some mob boss from New York, and it was really good how they brought all those characters together and made a really good show as far as you know per season you could kind of the beef went from one guy to another guy, and a new character would come in and beef with the main character, and it was really well done, and it was short but sweet. I think there was about 4 seasons, if I'm not mistaken. There's about maybe 13 or 14 episodes per, and it's short but sweet. It really gets you to the point. The ending ended really well, in my opinion. It would have been nicer if it was kind of more a happier ending, but it was a good ending. Um, you have any other shows in mind before I go to number 3?
Um, so I'm gonna talk about 2 shows that kind of are tied for 5. I don't know which 2 to leave, or I'm sorry, 3 shows that are tied for 5. I don't know
Okay.
which to leave out at this point. So, The Walking Dead being kind of on the outskirts is basically because I lost interest. And if I lose interest, I kind of feel like the whole show goes to shit for me.
Yeah.
But The Walking Dead's one. Actually, let's make it 4. So it's The Walking Dead, okay. Shameless,
Okay.
lost interest. I'm like, how much shit could a family get into over and over again?
Okay.
Um, Game of Thrones.
Okay.
I feel like that last season just destroyed the show
It
for me.
did. It did. It did.
And I did binge watch that show, and that's a lot of information to take in to binge watch it.
Big time.
And Fringe. Have you ever seen Fringe?
Fringe. This was the show revolved around.
It
It
was
was like,
revolved. It was like revolved around like scientific, like government secrets and stuff like that.
oh, okay, yes. I remember you watching it, telling me about it. I
Yeah.
tried to get into it, but I don't think I was ready. I
It's
just
yeah.
it didn't
Well,
hit
you
me.
know why you weren't ready because it was around Lost, and
Ah,
it's from the same makers of
that's what I was gonna
Lost.
say. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So that show, I watched the first couple of seasons and I fell off.
yeah.
Okay. Years later, I'm on Google and I'm like Jesus, dude, the show's still on. I can't even remember how many
Whoa.
seasons it is. So I went back and binge watched it.
Yeah.
It's good.
Is it?
It's good.
Jeez.
If you like that, it's kind of, you have to open up your mind to having like any possibility could happen.
Yeah.
You understand what
You,
I'm
you
saying?
can't you can't use logic. You
No,
can't use, the usual common sense. You got to be in that adventurous frame of mind
yeah,
where when they're saying something that's out of this world, you're like, whoa, I wonder
dude,
how they're going to make that happen in the
you're
show.
talking about like parallel dimensions type
Yeah,
shit going on in
that's
the show.
cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So that show's good. So you know what? I think I would put Fringe at number 5. Let's put Fringe at
Wow.
number
Okay.
5.
All
I'll
right.
take Fringe over those other 3. Game of Thrones, I liked it. It was too much to watch as a binge watch. I think I lost a lot of the show.
Yeah.
I think it was over appreciated that it made me underappreciated. Does that make sense? Like
Yes.
everybody talked about it
So
so much.
big. So
Yeah.
big. Yeah.
And
No,
I
no, I
just
get it.
watched it
Yeah.
and I do like the way this cinematography was in that they made it look real. Like Game
Yeah.
of Thrones
It's like a
for being a
movie.
TV
Every
show. Yeah,
episode was like a
it's
movie,
like a
you know?
movie.
Yeah.
Um okay, so we'll put Fringe at number 5. Number 4 right now,
You
it's
said number 4,
looking
Game
like
of Thrones, no?
no. I'm
Oh,
gonna put Game of Thrones on the outside, and
okay.
I might actually put Ozark at number 4 right now,
Oh,
just based on what I've seen.
all right.
Um, I've been binge watching that show. It's good. I want to watch every episode. I'm staying up until 2:30 in the morning, so it's a good show. Probably when we finish this podcast, I'm gonna watch the next episode. So that would be my top 4. Do you want me to continue my 4 and 5? Do you want me to continue, or you want to pick
I
up where
was
you
gonna
left off?
Let me give you my number 3 because we just
Okay.
talked about it. Breaking Bad. That was
Okay.
my number 3.
Okay.
It just like we talked about, it was great. And even though I can't rewatch it again, it had such an impact that first time getting all that story down. And I will rewatch a couple episodes during while I was binge watching the whole thing, but it was great. It was great. I have it
Yeah.
at number 3, solid 3. Like you
Okay.
can't knock it off that pedestal.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess that my number 3 is your number 2.
Okay.
And
What is it?
Sopranos.
Okay.
Okay, so Sopranos, I that was introduced to me. I feel like the same way Breaking Bad was introduced to you,
Gotcha.
in that you were heavy in Sopranos
Yes.
while it was on. I wasn't. I watched a episode here and there. I felt like it was the kind of show where you could watch an episode and be like, "Oh, that's pretty cool,"
Yeah.
and not feel like you're missing much.
Yeah.
Um, but as I went back and watched it, and I've been binge watched it a couple times, maybe 3 times, um, I I I learned to appreciate it more and more as I go back and watch it.
Yeah.
James Gandolfini, when you know how he is, when you see him in like actual interviews as a regular guy, and then
Oh
you
yeah.
watch the
He's
character,
so
they're
different,
two different
bro.
people. It's not like they
And
picked
he's
up some
so good
Jersey
at
guy and
being
threw
the
him there.
mean guy. He's
Yeah.
so good.
And
Yeah.
not even, I don't think it's like intentionally mean. I just think it's mean out of like distrust and protecting himself.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and out of vulnerability, like he doesn't
Yes.
want to be vulnerable. So you appreciate that show going beyond just being like a mafia show. It's way beyond that. But I think if you like the like East Coast Italian vibe, it's a good show to watch. The little like sausage like place and the little table outside with the
And
they're just like,
all
yeah,
those little sayings
cannolis.
like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
yeah,
oh."
it's good. You grab someone on the back of the neck. Yeah. So that's on my number 3. So what do you
I
have at number 2?
well, that was your number 2, right?
That was my number 3.
Oh, your number 3. Okay.
Yeah.
My number 2, I have it. Well, let me talk about Sopranos a little bit. Sopranos, I remember a little backstory behind it. Again, this was one of those shows where, like, I'm the last one to know. I've heard of the show, but no one's ever told me how good it was until I'm hanging out at one of our old buddies. I don't know if you remember Muhammad and Paul,
Yeah.
your buddies
Mo
from
was
high school.
watching it.
We were at his place right here in Cyprus, right, not too far from here, and he had like a townhouse and stuff, and everybody used to meet up on Sundays,
Mm.
like around 8ish at his place, and they would watch Sopranos. And one day I go there, and I'm not sure. I think I just went there to go kick it, and they're watching. They're like in the middle of season 5, and it was the good stuff. Like
Yeah.
they're like, sit down and try to watch. Okay, I'm gonna sit. And before the episode started, it's one of those previously on The Sopranos, and they show what happened, and you're like, wow, I want to see what's gonna happen in this. And it was like towards the end of the season, so it's always good. A
Yeah.
lot of good drama in there, and I got hooked. I remember the next day, I went to Blockbuster Video, still open back in those days, and I got season 1. Took it to I had the shop back in the day, so I went back to the shop and the whole day just binge watching it. The next day, return that one, get season 2. Literally binge watch the whole season. And finally, I think it was about a week and a half later, I'm caught up. And when I had HBO at the house, so I would watch it at the house, and
Mm.
I got my cousin Jack to come and watch. And the thing is, Jack was watching already. He would tell me, you should," but he was the only one. And I'm like, "What do you know about it? You barely watch it, da da da," you know. And I don't know, man. That was one of those shows that I could still watch it. It's like I Love Lucy for me. Like if it's on, I still laugh.
Just
I know
watch
what's
an
coming.
episode.
It's
Yeah.
hilarious, but no, Soprano, it's still good. I can
Hmm.
be in the middle of an episode eating dinner. I'm like, boom, perfect. There's nothing wrong. I don't care what season it is, what episode. I can still watch it. It's still that good. One of those that just doesn't leave.
No.
Um, truth be told, I have that as my number one. Uh, and it didn't even. I the first thing that popped up. I got my little notebook and I made my little notes.
That was the first one,
Number
right at the
one,
top.
not even a thought. And then when I thought about all the others, I'm like, nope, it's good at number one for me.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay. So
not
what's your
saying
number?
anything's wrong with the others. I just like that one the
Yeah.
most.
So could I guess your number 2?
Please,
It's Lost.
yes.
Okay.
Now the only thing that kind of teetered it to go number two is it's it's a little bit to do with the ending, kind of, but it just in the middle there, they had those issues back in the day where they were
Writers strike.
there was a strike and the
Yeah.
story took a nice little curve, but in the wrong direction. They
Yeah.
brought it back kind of eventually,
They
but they were adding
salvaged it.
so many new things, and you're like, this is kind of weird. Like, it doesn't seem right for the show. Like, you were going in a direction and you veered, you know. But still, that show, I I would pay money for someone to find me a show that had those kind of
Yeah.
characters, that
Yeah.
good acting, and that kind of mental draw to it. You know, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
I love
Okay.
it.
So my number 2, I'm not gonna talk much about it because we already talked about it. Was Breaking Bad.
Okay, all right.
Um.
That's a solid. Like mine's
Yeah.
number three. That and
Yeah.
Lost. I love
They're in the
Lost.
top 3. I think we agree that those
Yeah,
two belong in the
yeah,
top 3. Actually, those 3 belong in the top 3. I put Sopranos at 3.
yeah.
I put Lost at 1, and the reason I could have easily 2 minutes from now could rearrange Breaking Bad and Lost.
I get you.
Um,
I get you.
the reason why I put Lost at number 1 though is because I've never had an experience, bro. It's not just the show I remember, but what we were doing while we were watching that show.
Mm.
Like it had such an effect, like you said, like that mental kind of like suck you in.
Yes.
And I don't know
Mental draw,
yeah,
bro. I don't know what other word to bring. Like when it was on, you stopped and
yeah.
man, it was like, oh, it would go to
It's just
commercial. You're like,
yeah.
oh my god,
The end,
goosebumps,
yeah.
dude. Like, what the
You
hell?
couldn't wait for the next episode. The
No,
end of the episode
no.
was
Yeah.
you know, like
It's like, no.
what's that? So I want to talk about that show though. So Lost, it did take like a left turn, but I felt like they salvaged it for the fact that the writers' strike happened at a time when that story was supposed to blow up. Now I
Eh,
want to talk about the reason why I want to go deeper into a ranking of seasons for that show. Okay.
okay, I'm down.
Um, and let's talk maybe top three. Let's do top two favorite seasons of Lost for you. What would be number two, and what would be number one?
Okay, number two, as far as second best season in that show, is that what you're
Hmm.
talking about?
Like, yeah, the second best season, and then the first best season of that
Okay,
show.
second best season.
And wait, before you start, I want to explain to people who haven't seen Lost, the reason why we're breaking it up into seasons is because this show drastically changes with the season. It's almost like each season is like a mini series in a sense.
It,
Like,
it, it was, yes,
yeah,
and you, I,
it's hard to
I,
explain it. Go and watch it. You have enough time.
yeah. Well, look, I told my girlfriend the other day, she's been mentioning to me like, oh my God, I'm so bored, and and I try to get her to watch what was that show? There was a show recently I tried to get her to watch that I thought she would actually like. She just breezed through it and she didn't really listen, like pay attention to everything. Just kind of went through it and it wasn't for me. So I told her, I go, look, there was one show that kind of just made you think, and I'm telling you, if you watch that first episode and it doesn't grab you, especially you have to have the right sound. You can't watch it on your phone
No,
with the phone speaker up. You're not gonna get
no,
it.
no.
Try to get it on the, let's say if you have to watch it on a laptop, a decent sized laptop, nice headphones, even earbuds, but have them in there. Turn that thing up. I guarantee you, it'll suck you in. And she's on episode 4 now, and she said she loves it. Like I didn't think it was gonna be. I thought it might be one of those things where it kind of over her head, but shit, she really likes it. But
Quick
here,
interlude.
go.
Episode 4, by the way, that was the John Locke storyline.
Yes.
That was probably one of my favorite episodes of all time. Actually, I'm going to talk about my favorite episode, but go ahead.
Okay.
Give me that number two
Now
season.
look at number 2 season.
Hmm.
Um, for sure though, like I'm trying to to remember the ending and all that, and like all those seasons beforehand. But
Right.
I'm telling you, season 1, it that's my number 2.
Okay.
The only reason why it's not number 1 is because what it led up to.
Which is
Because season
season two.
2, for the love of God, was one of it's
The best.
incredible.
Yeah.
The last 3 episodes of that season, if that doesn't tingle the little hair in the back of your neck, forget it.
That
You're
season was
useless,
amazing.
man. Yes.
Yeah. Season one, I kind of kept out of it, but I would agree. But the reason why I just didn't want to pick season one is because it was it's kind of like a given, like it's a
Yeah.
great, it kind of explains the characters
Yes.
more so and what the show is going to lead up to. It's almost like a pilot for the rest of the series.
Yes.
But taking that out, uh, I'm kind of leaning toward for my second favorite. Obviously, season two is my favorite season.
Okay.
Season five as my second favorite season.
That was a great season. I hear you there. I
Yeah, because
well,
it kind of showed the revealed John Locke as being what he was. I'm not gonna kind of get into the specifics
yeah.
of it,
Yeah.
but I thought that was a really good twist to the show.
Yeah.
Um, and I felt like three was the crappiest, and maybe four was the crap. I mean, it could have been both of them. They were just
4
kind of
was
lumped together.
pretty
Yeah.
lackluster.
I
Yeah.
mean, we had to have a lot of time on our hands to put up with that, dude.
Yeah.
But
Now, there's another thing. Like, I'll give you why number 2, season 2, is one of my favorites. Is because we were introduced to the sounds of
the smoke monster. Oh, the real. Was that? Yeah, it was. It was the first time. Yeah. No, I could hear it.
Oh, okay.
The Dharma Initiative.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I should get that tattoo.
Ooh, but which station? There's the
Uh,
Pearl. The
what's the one? What's the underground hatch one?
That was the Pearl.
Um, I mean, you
That was
gotta
the one
go.
where they first saw the video. It's just a circle in the middle. There's nothing. It's just a white circle.
You
Then
gotta
there's the one
go.
I just showed you. It's with like the sea monster. That's the
Yeah.
one where they do the stuff with the water. Then there's the one where they view everything, which was um I forgot which one that was. Anyways, but that show, that music, I guarantee if you get into that show and it gets to that part where that music, forget it, man. For the rest of your life, if that music's playing, you're gonna know
You're gonna
exactly
know
what's
where it's
wrong.
coming from. Dude, I'm gonna watch it tonight. I'm gonna actually get
Me too,
into
brother.
watching it again too.
Me too,
Um,
brother. it's it's
so
it's building up right now. Like
yeah,
I'm actually feeding it right now. It's
I'm gonna.
craving it.
I just want to quickly, because this scene came to my head, and I actually
Oh yeah,
posted this on
please.
Facebook a couple of years ago. There's a scene where Charlie. Now, for those that haven't seen the show, Charlie is a recovering heroin addict musician. Um, when the plane crashes on an island. They're all on the island, and he has a little bag of heroin on the airplane that he loses, and he ends up finding it. And I'm pretty sure this is season one.
It is
And
season one.
well,
Yes.
that part is, but there's a part where John Locke takes it from him.
Yeah,
Okay, this is season one, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes.
He takes it from him, and he tells him, he, Charlie tells him, like, why don't you just get rid of it? Why are you just holding on to it? Why are you torturing me by holding on to it and you're not giving it to me? You're making me make a choice.
Yeah.
That's his core. Like, why do you want me? Like, I have to say no, but if I say yeah, you're gonna give it to me, So he goes and sees a cocoon on the leaf,
Yeah.
and he tells him, you know what that? He tells Charlie, do you know what that is? He goes, like a butterfly. He goes, no, that's a moth. He tells him why a moth is more important than a butterfly.
Yeah.
And then he goes, I could take my knife and I could open up the cocoon and help the moth get out. But once the moth gets out, it won't be strong enough to live.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that moth surviving is for it to break out of the cocoon on its own.
Yeah.
So that metaphor, when he's telling him, he's basically telling him, like, I could burn your dope, and
Yeah.
since we're stranded on an island, you're still gonna fiend for it.
Mm-hmm.
But part of your survival is being able to say no to the dope.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a really important metaphor for that scene, and that kind of made me have a lot of respect for the writers,
For
like
the right. Yes. Yes.
throwing those things in it. You kind of lost that after season 3 because of the strike, but I was glad they salvaged it. They brought in the time, time traveling aspect of it, and you understand where the scientific stations came from and all
Yeah.
that stuff in the
Yeah.
70s. So they did salvage it, but that one scene is probably my favorite scene in the show.
And that's just one of many. There's a lot
There's
of
so many, yeah.
episodes
Yeah.
that are so good, and it kind of like it touches the heart in a sense, or it tickles the brain, where you're like,
Yeah.
"Wow, never thought about it like that." Like that's
Yeah.
really good right there. They
Yeah.
sneak it on you too.
Yeah.
Comes in and then, oh,
Yeah.
damn, you got me again.
Yeah.
But if you were to, I don't know I remember. Well, I was gonna kind of give you a trivia question,
Okay.
and I'm not sure about it myself, but Jack's tattoo, what did it say?
Shit. I
Do they
can't.
ever mention it?
They do, because the person that sees it, what's her name? The one from the Dharma Initiative.
I can't remember her name, but I remember she was like a blonde
She
haired
reads
lady.
it.
She
She
reads it,
reads it.
and she's like, "You want me to tell you what it says?" He's all, "I know what it says."
Yeah, but it had something to do with, like, the person that gave him the tattoo is like a reader of people.
Yes.
right? And she read Jack as being this shit, man. I see. Now I'm gonna go back and watch the whole series over.
And that episode's cool. I like that
Yeah,
episode. Yeah.
that was a good episode. Yeah, yeah.
And that chick was hot, the Asian chick.
Yeah.
um, no, man, that was a great show, man. I constantly go back to it, and just in anything, like when someone compares shows like, oh, this show's really good, I go, yeah, but it's probably not as good as Lost.
You know, the thing with
No.
the thing with the finale of that series too, I was kind of like iffy about it. Like, did I like that? But then when I go back and watch it, I'm like, it grows
Yes,
on me, man.
yes,
The finale does grow on you because you're kind of like, ah. Now you see like the correlation between like, and still people disagree about what's going on in that finale. I think me and you still disagree about it
a little bit,
in a way,
and
but we won't get into that because that's gonna
no, no,
drag
no, no,
us
forget about that.
into
But
like another hour.
let me spit off a couple others just in case people are kind of wondering what to watch
Yeah.
right now. And they're actually really good. They're short but sweet, and they kind of give you a nice. It can really pass the time. Number one, on a serious note, not so much comedic, but on a serious note, there was a show that came out about a year ago on HBO. It was about 5 or 6 episodes. It's called Chernobyl. It was about the nuclear reactor that exploded
Russia,
in the
right?
Ukraine
Oh yeah.
back in the early 80s and how they covered it up and what it actually did. This is the first time anybody kind of put it onto picture what that kind of level of disaster that could do to like the world, like the earth. They messed around with something and they screwed it up and they tried to keep it secret for days, and lo and behold, 2 days later in Sweden, they feel the radiation and they know what kind of radiation it is, even though it's minimal. They know where it's coming from because there's only one place that has it, out in the Ukraine.
So is that based?
True
They,
story.
yeah, yeah. They built a dome over that thing, right?
They did,
Then if they
and
try to contain it,
basically that area is still uninhabitable for like the past since the 80s for another 100 something years before you can go in there without wearing a full
hazmat.
nuclear suit.
That's sick, man.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. What else you got?
Um, the next one, and this is more for the nostalgia. I like Karate Kid. Cobra Kai was actually a really good show,
Good.
and it's on
That's good.
YouTube. It was
Good.
you have the same old characters. It's just what happens after the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
They
Dude,
grow up,
the
and then what?
yeah,
You know?
yeah. The end of the second season it messed me up. It's 2 seasons in, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I was
And they
like, what
just
the hell? Where the hell did that come from, man?
yeah,
It was all
that's awesome.
lighthearted, and then all of a sudden, like that shit happened. I was like, damn, dude. So yeah, that is a good show. I wasn't thinking about that one, but that's
Yeah.
good. Light. It's kind of like you don't have to think too much. You just enjoy it. If you liked Karate Kid in the 80s, that's a good show to watch. Um, by
The
the
episodes are so
makers.
short too. It's
Yeah,
like, man, 10,
yeah.
15 minutes each episode.
And it's produced by Will Smith. Did you know that?
I had no idea, but
And Jada Pinkett's brother.
a fun fact: Boardwalk Empire,
Mm.
and I'm not sure that McMillions show that you told me to watch recently, where the mob was, the McDonald's things, the little Monopoly game, how
Hmm.
it was controlled by the mob. They were
Oh,
making.
really?
Oh, you didn't see that? Okay.
No.
Well, anyways, the what I was trying to get to the shit. What was I saying? Okay, the what were you saying right before?
I was
Trying
talking about how Cobra Kai was produced by Will Smith
There we
and
go.
yeah.
Breaking Bad. I'm sorry. Boardwalk Empire. Mark Wahlberg. Marky Mark and the Funky
No
Bunch.
way. He
Yeah.
produced it?
Yes. Along with many other shows. If you look at
Yeah.
his little list, geez, dude, he's in everything. Good shows too. Um, Another one that it was kind of on the lost side of things. I'm not sure if it's still going, but there was a show called Manifest. Excuse me.
That's true.
Do you remember that show?
Uh,
Manifest. It was the plane goes off, people have
yes.
landed, but they're
No
dead or
one
something.
knows what
Yeah,
happened.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I never got into it. Did you watch it?
No, but since we're talking about Lost, I might actually look into that one tomorrow, the day after.
Is that from the creators of Lost?
It was on the same network though, ABC.
I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah.
Manifest. Where would I find that at? Yeah, I'm gonna bleep that out. Um,
um, now, on the other side of things, like more quickie comedic, one rings to mind, Seinfeld. I've That's just one of those shows like it never gets old. 70 Show, Big Bang Theory. Those are all good shows, man.
yeah,
If you're just bored, you don't want to get into anything too deep. Seinfeld, they're excellent. I don't care what people say. Oh, it's a show about nothing. It's boring. Bull crap. If you like good acting and comedy, it's hilarious.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, for me, it's like The Simpsons. I'll just sit there and
Oh
watch The Simpsons.
yeah. I can't do cartoons.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I haven't really watched The Simpsons in years, but it's just one of those shows where if it's on like a new episode's on, it's like, oh, cool, I'll watch it. Um, I do want to say for next time,
Yeah.
I just kind of had an epiphany. Why don't we talk about some movies?
All right.
Um, and we'll kind of think about some movies that kind of stuck with us and
Okay.
which ones
I'm down.
we
I'm down
could
for that.
recommend. Do you have anything else to say on these
I
topics?
do. Today
Uh-huh.
is April 7th. I have a relative's birthday today, my cousin Jack. I haven't seen him in a while, but I will see him soon. We were all going to meet up for my birthday on March 5th,
All right.
but this coronavirus thing kind of threw a curve in all the plans. So as soon as all this is ended, we're going to have a huge bash. Um, Me, my buddy Will, try to get all the other guys, Maurice, Charlie, everybody together and have a nice little shindig
Yeah,
to
for
celebrate a
sure.
little bit. Yeah. But happy
100%.
birthday, Jack.
Happy birthday, Jack.
Yeah. But this was a good episode, man. I liked it. I like talking about it. It brings back good memories, and
Uh,
you kind of feel it. Like just talking about Lost and all those nights, talking about the show and stuff. It actually bubbles the blood a little bit. So
yeah,
I'm
it
definitely gonna
does.
watch it. Definitely
Yeah,
gonna watch
yeah. I
it.
might
But
actually look up Fringe too, man.
I'll try. I'm gonna try to get
Try
into.
it out.
I'm gonna watch season one, episode one of this, season one, episode of that, and I'll know which way I'm gonna go.
Right.
Manifest, Fringe, and kind of go there and see which way it takes me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So this was I don't know. I don't know what episode we're on. Maybe like 11 right now. But we're either on 10, 11, or 12. And we'll come back at you guys with some movie recommendations. And
Yes.
if you guys have any suggestions on things that you'd like to hear us discuss or want to be on the show, just hit us up. Like our pages, subscribe to our pages, share our pages, and look out for the next one.
Yeah, man. I mean, even if you don't want to like it or subscribe, just share it. Let's see if
Yeah,
someone else, and
definitely share it.
we'll go from there. We'll give some shout outs afterwards. But
Yeah.
I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I'll definitely catch you on the next one. It was another great episode with my buddy Will.
All right, bro. High five.
Yeah. All right,
See
brother.
ya.
Yeah.